Our next guest made his NBA debut Sunday night for the Golden State Warriors against the Denver Nuggets. He is, of course, the pride of Boys Latin, the pride of Loyola Lacrosse, and one of my all-time favorite people. He's Pat Spencer, and he's back with us now. Pat, it's so great to chat with you, man. Always appreciate it. Congratulations. Thanks for taking the time for
Of
us.
course, man. Thanks for having me.
Pat, all of the work, all of the grinding, all of the effort that you have put in to reach the NBA, when you check into the game on Sunday night, what goes through your mind knowing like it's real, it's happened, no one will ever be able to take it away from you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just another milestone for me. I was super excited to be a part of it, but ultimately the next step is to get that real contract and contribute in a high at a high level. And so obviously, excited to be a part of it. But I think for me, it's just another step. I think that's just kind of how my mindset works.
Yeah, I know how driven you are, how focused of a competitor. Do you allow yourself to enjoy it at all, take it in even a little bit, or are you just too hyper focused on the goals?
Pretty hyper focused. Once in a while I get to enjoy it with my family. I think that's the one thing for me is getting to share it with the people I love the most. Once in a while we'll talk about how cool it is, but I think for the most part I'm just pretty goal driven, and just kind of focused on what I'm doing. So yeah, I take it in a little bit, but I think ultimately it's just kind of you sweep it under the rug and it's on to the next thing.
I understand and I'm not surprised knowing you. That's exactly the way that I would have expected it. Is there like anything about it? Like, do you allow yourself to be like, wow, that's Nikola Jokic? Do you allow yourself to like look at any of that, or is it too much like I can't be a fanboy, I'm supposed to be here?
Yeah, I mean I feel like I belong. Obviously, you just respect the talent, between
Yeah.
the guys like Jokic and Steph and the guys across the league. The goal for me is just to work as hard as I can to be the best player I can be. So I appreciate the talent, but at the end of the day, I'm not really a fan. I'd rather be a competitor and go out there and compete against any of those guys.
So I know that you always knew that you could do this. When did it strike you that like it would be possible? That because some of these things are beyond your control, right? Like you can do everything you can do, but you still have to have somebody else say, "Yeah, we see it." When did you realize this would be possible for you to reach the NBA?
You know what? I think even during my time at Loyola, I knew I could get there. I think just for a lot of guys, it's about finding the right path and finding somebody that's going to give you an opportunity and values what you bring to the table. I think the Warriors have historically been one of those organizations that values guys that play the way that I play, play the game the right way for the most part, try to make other guys around you better, take care of the ball, shoot the ball at a high level. So I knew this was going to be an organization that I targeted, and unfortunately they felt passionate about the way that I played too. So it's a match made in heaven, and like I said, it's just the first step in the journey. I'm excited to see what I can contribute.
I know that's true. All right, you mentioned Loyola, and I'm sitting here in Matt Dwan's office. Tell me something that you still carried with you from your time, whether it was something you learned here from the staff here, or whether it was just something that you took from your experience at Loyola that you still carry with you and has aided you most on your journey to the NBA.
One, I mean, there's support from the entire Loyola community. It's just been unbelievable through the whole journey. I think Loyola, a lot of people might not know, but Loyola was one of the schools that really took a chance on me. I didn't have a whole lot of opportunity coming out of high school. And I was back to square one in basketball when I started. So, my journey in lacrosse was very similar to my journey in basketball. It wasn't like, there were a bunch of schools knocking on my door. Unfortunately at that time, recruiting was freshman year, sophomore year. So I was a little bit undersized, and so I valued the people as much as anything at Loyola and what they stood for, and I think that stands true today for me with the Warriors organization. So I think just finding the right people that value the things that you bring to the table, and then obviously making those people proud and really proving them right. I think that's something that I strive to do every day.
We're chatting with Pat Spencer here on GCR. Pat, I asked this, like, do your teammates like know who you are? Do the guys are going, does anybody there like realize like you're one of the greatest athletes of the last 20 years, or do they mostly just know that you're the guy that's wearing number 61?
A couple of them joked about some highlights, so I think a handful of them have probably seen the lacrosse highlights. Lacrosse is still relatively new to a lot of those guys because
Yeah.
Some of them are 30 plus years old, and so lacrosse is on the rise, obviously, but back in the day, it wasn't as popular. So I think they're actually pretty intrigued by some of the highlights and seeing maybe a little bit of the crossover between lacrosse and basketball, which is pretty cool.
Have you been able to get any of the guys to like, get interested in it and to like start paying attention? Has that been a thing?
I think, you know what, I talk to Paul still from time to time, and I think it'd be
Yeah.
maybe some of those guys out to a PLL event and just kind of show them what it's all about. Um, Lacrosse is obviously trending in the right direction, and it's a high level game from an athletic standpoint, from a skill standpoint. So, athletes across the world are starting to have an appreciation for what the game stands for. I think Paul's done a great job and the league as a whole of shifting the perception from the outside. So I think it'd be really cool to get a handful of guys out to some of those events and show them what it's all about.
Do you still play at all, or is that all time that could be spent hoisting up threes? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I just still, I mean, I feel like I'm still relatively early in my basketball career in terms of
yeah.
what I can get done on the court. So my whole off season is spent in the lab and working on what I'm trying to get better at. But I definitely keep up with it, and I'm hoping the Hounds can get it back on track tonight.
Oh, you're not kidding. I mentioned number 61, right? Like you were 7 at Loyola, 12 at Northwestern. What's the story on 61?
Yeah, it's a little back there. Well, 6-1 is 7. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, 7 was my number in lacrosse, and my grandmother's favorite number. We lost her this year, but 7 was kind of our connection. And then so there's 60 spots in the NBA draft. So 61 just signifies me create my own journey, and just kind of has like a little bit of double meaning for me.
Dude, that's tremendous. That is so great.
Wild number. I know it's wild, but it's got a little bit of meaning to me. So that
That's
yeah,
that's really, really cool, man. That's such a cool thing.
yeah.
Give me a as you've made this journey, was there anyone that you were constantly in touch with or that you were seeking? Like I don't know if maybe in your heart of hearts there was ever a moment where you wondered if it was gonna happen for you and you dealt with any doubt, like anything like that. Was there anybody that you were reaching out to that you were seeking out to for advice during this process of trying to get here?
Now, I think for me, I wouldn't say advice. I mean, I had a lot of people in terms of coaching and, from shooting to training to skill work to that kind of stuff, man. So if I gave you a list of everybody, we'd be here for an hour. I've had so many people help me along the way. Between Tori and Ben really are my strength and conditioning and basketball guys. Um, but my family, I mean, put me in position to be successful. And give a special shout out to Tommy Shepard and Amber Nichols over at the Go Go, who helped me get my foot in the door. It was a bumpy year for me, but allowed me to get on track and get my foot in the door. And then obviously, Dave Fatoki and Mike Dunleavy here with the Warriors have been great to me and allowed me to work my way up the ladder. And like I said, I just want to make those people proud and do right by them.
Every time Steve Kerr seems to talk about you, it's so effusive, right? And he seems to have such reverence for you as an athlete. Being around, and I don't know whether it was in the preseason or the time that you've been around him now, it's such a basketball mind, and he seems like such a thoughtful person. What have you taken from the interactions, the conversations that you've had with Steve Kerr?
Yeah, I mean, I think the guy's resume speaks for itself, right? I mean, I think it's 9+ rings. So his voice carries a lot of weight in that locker room. And Steve's been great to me, man. I think Steve, as much as his son Nick, who's actually our coach in the G League, both of those guys have been unbelievable in terms of feedback, open communication, and just allowing me to be myself. When they brought me in here, they wanted me to be an athlete, be a competitor, and just be myself. And I think Steve has kind of relayed that message to me time and time again. And so excited to be able to lace them up for him. But I've had a blast doing the same thing for his son down here in the G League. He's been great for us.
That's really cool, man. So I think about, Steph, right? Like we see all those highlight, even we all know what he can do on a floor. It's insane, right? But the stuff that he does before a game, where he's like shooting from the opposite tunnel, have
Yeah.
you ever attempted that? Do you say like, dude, that's actually not all that impressive? Like we do that stuff all the time. Like
No, his level of shot making is just a different level. I feel like I'm a great shooter at this point, but you watch him work out. You guys see all the highlights and the crafty stuff, but what you don't see is behind the scenes and what he does to prepare for his day-to-day craft. So, um, his shooting's another level. His workouts are identical to how he moves in the game, right? Like some guys will work out, they'll just do catch and shoots and have some lazy workouts. His are nonstop movement, and it's identical to the way he plays. So his
Wow.
preparation is there's a reason he is where he is. It's due to all the work that he put in, and couldn't happen for a better dude.
You mentioned that you're in a pretty good place shooting wise. How do you become a 40% three-point shooter? Like what does that have to look like in preparation in order for you to get to that point?
Yeah, I think the 4 years off is where it really hurt me in terms of some of that skill stuff, right? I had the IQ and the athleticism, but I just had some bad habits that I needed to break. So shout out to Ben Belusi and our coach, actually, another Ben here that's been helping me. We've had just, I've had some great people in my corner help me fix some of my flaws. And then, it's an ongoing journey. I think shooting is you have good days, you have bad days, but as long as mechanically you're sound and you have all the things that you need to fall back on, no reason you can't just let it fly. So it's been a journey for me. It's been a, 2.5, 3+ year transformation, but I'm at a point now where I feel really good and, you don't have to think anymore. You just let it fly.
Yeah, it's muscle memory, right? How many shots do you put up a day?
Well, that depends. All season's a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of the season is more maintenance, right? You want to just feel good. You want your body to feel good. We play so many games, so it's about maintaining what you have, and sometimes you have to make some adjustments. But the off season where you really get the bulk of those 500 to 1,000+ shot days and get after it.
That sounds so insane to me. I just hit batting practice to my kids or pitch batting practice to my kids for like an hour and a half the other day, and I'm
Yeah.
still sore. Like the idea of putting up
If
a
I take,
thousand.
well, I'm right there with you. If I take a week or two off, then I'm gonna feel it.
Yeah, okay, all right. Now I feel a little bit better. We have something in common. We have something very small in common in that way. Another couple of minutes here with Pat Spencer. Pat, the significance of getting there, like I start to think about the possibility of maybe your brother also being in the league. Now, what have I know your goal is to just play no matter what, but have you thought about that like what if you guys played against each other in an NBA game? Like, does that thought cross your mind at all?
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be cool to play together.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, shoot, we have so many battles in the off season. I think I'm proud of him, and he's put in the work, and he'll definitely be at this level next year in some capacity. So yeah, it's just cool to watch him. First off, I hope UConn makes their run.
Yeah.
They've got the team to run it back. It's just a matter of some things happening the right way for him. But excited to watch that play out. But yeah, I mean, it'd be a dream come true. I think for both of us, but even more so for our parents and our family to be able to watch us play.
I've had the pleasure to meet your parents a few times, and your mom has always been so wonderful to me. How would they handle it? Like you guys have always been far enough apart that they're like this has never been an issue, right? Like how would they handle it if the two of you were squaring off against each other at some point next year?
I think they probably have to get some custom jerseys.
That two-sided jersey that like we see Donna Kelsey wearing.
Yeah, I think they'd have to do a front and back kind of deal. Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, they'd be rooting for both of us. I don't know how they split it up, but they've done a good job of dividing and conquering. Because actually, my youngest brother's playing D3 ball at Hood College, and they've been killing it too. They're in the D3 tourney. They just got in the other day, so
Nice.
parents have been dividing and conquering and going to different games throughout the years anyway. So I'm sure they'd find a way to make it work.
I feel like after all of the doubters that you and Cam have proved wrong, like why would your brother still be at the D3 level? Why wouldn't people suddenly recognize like, hey, maybe let's stop overlooking these boys, like, and understand that they're pretty stinking good at basketball at some
Yeah,
point.
I mean, he's had a journey too. He tore like his meniscus, I think it was his freshman year, and dropped some weight to get back into playing shape. So I think he's happy about where he's at. They've got a really good team. He's got a great group of teammates, and so his freshman year they were able to make a run in the tourney a little bit, and so I'm hoping Hood College can make that run again.
I would love that. All right. So I just thought of this because I mentioned Donna Kelsey, and ironic that your mother's name is also Donna, right? That you and Cam have both told me the stories of you guys going up against each other and how physical and how quickly it could turn into a fight. So now I'm thinking the two of you versus the Kelseys in a wrestling match. Obviously, they'd have a size advantage, but given your propensity to fight in battle, would you be able to take down the Kelsey brothers in a wrestling match?
I'm gonna go ahead and say Jason would probably squash one of us. Um, it's a big dude. I'm a big Jason Kelsey fan. I like that dude a lot. Travis too. I like Travis, but um, I mean, I'll tell you what, we're not going down without swinging. I can promise you that.
I
Yeah,
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking. And
nothing.
then because you mentioned that, like, have you thought at all when they announced lacrosse was coming to the Olympics? Did you have any thought in your mind at all, like, man, like that? Does that, or you can you just not go there at all?
I can't, and I wish I could. I mean, it's such an honor to represent your country in any way, shape, or form. But um, I've got a tight window here to do what I love basketball wise, and just to do that in the off season would put me in a little bit of jeopardy. So I wish I could. I mean,
Yeah.
like I said, it'd be an honor to represent your country in any format. But you know what? I think the lacrosse world is in pretty good hands. They've got a lot of guys that are capable of holding it down over there.
All right. What'd you keep from Sunday night? What did you keep and who's got it?
Oh, nothing. I didn't keep anything.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's the first of many. You
I
know,
love
like
it.
yeah, I'm not looking at it as like some huge milestone. Obviously, like I said, it's a great check mark for me, but yeah, everything stayed.
Hey,
Nothing new.
man. Again, none of this surprises me. Knowing you, the competitor, I'm not remotely surprised by it at all. Well, I will say it was a monumental moment for all of us. And
Thank
I
you.
de I definitely yelled loud enough that I woke up my kids the other night when he checked into the game. Brother, we're so happy for you. And we also know that there's a lot more coming, and we can't wait to see what that is, Pat. We're just so thrilled for everything you've accomplished and how you continue to represent this university and this area, right? Like there's still, even the Baltimore area, there's only so many guys that have accomplished this. And so the way you represent for everybody back this way, it means the world. Thank you, as always, taking the time for us, brother, and continued success to you.
Of course, man. Thanks for everything.